News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Israeli military chief telling his troops today that airstrikes against Hezbollah were in preparation for the potential ground invasion of Lebanon, which is their neighbor to the north, which they've been warring at, because on October 7th, Hamas, in a terror organization whose stated goal is to kill every Jew in Israel and wipe them off the face of the earth. That's what from the river to the sea means. They're funded, trained by Iran through Joe Biden, giving them billions and billions of dollars in oil revenue since he opened the spigot up the day he took the power from Trump. And they have made $80 billion in oil revenue since they took over, and much of that money has gone to kill Jews in Israel and launch that attack, and to arm Hamas, and to the south in Yemen, the dirt-herding, goat-herder terrorists, the Houthis, giving them ballistic missiles and so much more, and drones. Our U.S. Navy is at the highest point of battle that they've been at since World War II, according to its admiral over that area of the world. Also, to the north, after the ceasefire was broken by Hamas on October 7th, invading and slaughtering 1,200 Jews and kidnapping hundreds, including American citizens, including one of whom was executed moments before he was rescued from a terrorist tunnel under Gaza, Hersh Goldberg, Poland. And then to the north, the day October 7th happened, to the north, the other terrorist proxy in Lebanon, Hezbollah, began its unprecedented, unrelenting, well, it's not unprecedented, but it's unrelenting 8,000 missile and rocket attack that still continues to this very moment. They lobbed a missile. Israel has been launching, softening up the targets and the ground in Lebanon in anticipation of what they now reveal is a ground invasion. That is not certain, but it is apparently imminent. And it's because Hezbollah has been killing innocent Israelis, including blowing up a missile on a soccer field where little children were there, killing 11 of them in the past several weeks. So Israel has been painstakingly, incredibly taking out these Hamas senior commanders. I look at the leadership of Hezbollah in the north, and literally everybody on the tree except for two terrorists and the head of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, have been killed by the great state of Israel. And it's really amazing. Scroll down and see this graphic. I'll retweet it again right now. It's profound. So now they did that pager where they blew up thousands of terrorist pagers. They weren't innocent civilians. They were Hezbollah terrorists, after being instructed by the head of Hezbollah to stop using your cell phones. Israel's tracking you. Israel sold and put inside of each pager a round of explosives that went off, PETC or something of that nature, and blew that up. And then shortly after, the next day, they blew up their walkie-talkies they started using individually with the terrorists. And then after that, they also blew up their solar panels, a reason number 50 million not to get solar panels on your house. So that's where we're at. And Joe Biden said an unbelievable thing today. He said today that all-out war in the Middle East is now possible. Joe Biden said that. And my question for you at 800-288-WBAP is, do you feel Kamala and Joe Biden have gotten us into this situation that war would not likely be likely at all in the Middle East had Trump been in charge? And who do you feel is best positioned to run our country in this perilous time in the world? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. There were no wars going on under Donald J. Trump. We didn't have the most horrifying and embarrassing withdrawal of Afghanistan, leaving behind tens of billions of dollars of the high-tech military gear, giving them to the terrorists the Taliban terrorists who struck us successfully and wildly and killed so many Americans on September 11th. They have been selling them and giving them to terrorists and using for their own terrorist regime. They had a massive parade in the previous month on display of all of our tens of billions of dollars of armament, machine guns, Humvees, deuce and a halves, Just unbelievable high-tech gear, night vision goggles, so many things, choppers, tanks. It's just unbelievable what this administration's done. That set the precedent, and of course, killing. He abandoned Bagram Air Force Base, a state-of-the-art $1 billion Air Force base that was never going to be abandoned by Trump. We're going to leave it there. And because of this, Iraq has just announced that they're going to be kicking us out with our bases there in a couple of years. And what does that mean? Iran already is controlling most of Iraq, is already attacking us prolifically. We will have no base to operate out of in the entire Middle East because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. That is a state-of-the-art base in Bagram. Joe Biden, in the dead of night, with Kamala being the last one in the room, her own words, abandoned it, turned off the lights, and fled and let thousands of Al-Qaeda and ISIS terrorists free. One of them, 3 days later, blew up our 13 soldiers. Joe killed those soldiers. He freed the terrorists who then strapped himself from ISIS and 3 days later killed 13 soldiers, wounded 48 or so of our soldiers catastrophically, and killed 100 and some odd Afghanis. And then we saw, the world saw the humiliation of all time, greatest humiliation of all time in the United States of America. Hundreds of people dropping off of aircraft carriers as they fled in horrifying United States dog between its tail between its legs fashion, and left. That started what led to Russia invading Ukraine. Never would have happened under Trump. In fact, it was Biden says, if they do a small incursion, that's pretty much okay with me, he said in a major speech. The world went, at least our side did, and our enemies went, yeah. And then Putin went, boom, he invaded, he went in there. Trump has a plan to end this war. Kamala and Joe have a plan to extend this war endlessly. Zelensky, a Ukraine corrupt dictator in a tracksuit, is now campaigning illegally with our funds and our military planes in a swing state of Pennsylvania yesterday, telling people to vote for Kamala and Trump is bad and we need your help. And look at these munitions factories in Pennsylvania that are making munitions for me in Ukraine, providing you jobs. Kamala's awesome. Hump her leg a little bit and get out on our dime. It's just incredible. The world's on fire. People that say the world's on fire is right. And that led, by the way, in Russia after Afghanistan now led to the Jews being slaughtered and attacked by terrorist Iran, who Joe has made rich, has taken tons of concessions off, gave them $6 billion for our hostages that were grabbed off the street. And Joe deals and wheels and gives away our money and high-value Russians and Iranians in exchange to try to make Iran happy so they won't attack us. But all they do is attack us and kill us. All they do is attack us and kill us. And all they do is attack and kill Jews. And this administration is a massive failure. They've sent the most weakest and most feckless message of any administration that I can think of since Jimmy Carter. And worse. So that's where we're at. So my question again, we got lines wide open. We can pop you on. We got time. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you feel Kamala and Joe Biden have gotten us into this situation and that war would not be likely at all in the Middle East had Trump been in charge? And who do you feel is best positioned to run our country in this perilous time of the world? So the headlines on this, again, and our number is 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Biden says an all-out war in the Middle East is possible. That came out this afternoon. He's green-lighting it, basically saying, yeah, it's possible. And Wall Street Journal says Israel prepares for possible Lebanon invasion as Hezbollah fires missile at Tel Aviv. They shot a ballistic missile directly at the Mossad headquarters in Jerusalem. That is a massive provocation. Israel stopped it with the Iron Dome and David's Sling. But this is, and how does this affect us? We have an aircraft carrier strike group. We have our fighter jets. Biden just deployed more of our U.S. soldiers in the region there. We lit up the sky when Iran had its unbelievable attack, sending, I think, 300 missiles and drones at the same time, or was it 3,000? And we've had to fire tons of our Tomahawk missiles from our warships and destroyers and such from off the shore of the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. and I think they're deploying a second carrier strike group, which involves aircraft carriers. 2 of them now are headed, or are they there, and they're on their way. And you're talking thousands of United States soldiers in harm's way. They're going to be firing a ton of our missiles. And China gained stronger. They did a hacking against us today, a deep hacking our government revealed. Let's go to Lori in Dallas. Lori, WBAP, hello. Lori, hello. Hi.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just made the comment that it's very simple. It's the difference between peace through strength under Trump versus an attempt at peace through appeasement by Biden. So it's a massively different approach. And, it never pays to try to appease terrorists.
So when I asked the question, do you feel Kamala and Joe have gotten us into this situation that war would... Yeah, without a doubt. And then war would not be likely at all in the Middle East had Trump been in charge?
No, Trump, for his entire life, he has been against war.
And who do you feel is best positioned, I guess? Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Talked this way since he was in his 20s.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, this is really is something else what he did. Peace broke out all over the Middle East when he was in charge. He made the historic Abraham Accords, which Biden kept and built upon, which really has done amazing things for that part of the world. I appreciate your great call. We have several lines open right now at 800-288-WBAP. Do you feel Kamala and Joe have gotten us into this situation that war would not be likely at all in the Middle East had Trump been in charge? And who do you feel is best positioned to run our country in this perilous time? I don't know if you heard this, but Iran is actively trying to kill Trump. You know that. But Trump today said that he made an unbelievable major threat to Iran if they attempt to kill him or any officials, which they have many hits on several former Trump officials, including the president. What he said is pretty provocative. He put his his cojones on the table. Iran reveals on Twitter, it shows a 1.5-minute video, shows them assassinating President Trump. They released. I have the audio of that, and I'll explain it to you. All that is next. The Secret Service is a disaster. All information that came out today shows that all of our presidents, especially Trump, are wide open, vulnerable for a third attempt. Here's where we're at, guys. We get into that coming up next as well on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. 800-288-WBAP is our number. All right, this is the Iranian video. I just tweeted it out this afternoon. You can see it on my Twitter feed. Everything is on my Twitter feed at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show, CHRISKROK. CHRISKROK. It shows Iran hacking into the Trump facilities in Florida, taking over their cameras, having a drone go in, a little drone, and get to where Trump is eventually on the golf course, have a laser on him of some sort, and then above a glider that'll drop some bombs on him, and they go right up to the point, and they push the button to kill him. They show the Qasem Soleimani, who Trump killed, and basically it shows right up to the very moment Trump gets blown up. So that's what's going on today. We know that's from their video. It's unbelievable propaganda, and it's for all to see on Twitter. And that's good. Let everybody see that Iran wants Trump dead, and they really want Kamala in for a president. It says right here, a great column today written in the Wall Street Journal by a scholar from the Foundation of Defense for Democracies and senior fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations. Iran is waiting for President Harris. Joe Biden said today that Kamala did everything that I was doing.
What advice have you given the vice president about how to win?
Be herself. Look, she is smart as hell. As vice president, there wasn't a single thing that I did that she couldn't do. And so I was able to delegate her responsibility. She has the energy, she has the intelligence, she has the grit, she has the stamina, and she has the guts to do the right thing.
Trump, in a speech today, saying warning them that if he gets in office, if Iran harms him or any official, whether it be a Trump official, a Biden official, or any of them, he will
But if I were the president, I would inform the threatening country, in this case Iran, that if you do anything to harm this person, we are going to blow your largest cities and the country itself to smithereens. We're going to blow it to smithereens. You can't do that. And there would be no more threats. There would be no more threats. But right now, we don't have that leadership or the necessary people, the necessary leaders.
Okay, and then he also was talking today, I'll play this for you a little later, but he said that indeed, if you elect President Trump, well, actually, as the Harris campaign continues to campaign on abortion, he says abortion is not going to matter if we're in a nuclear war. And I agree. And that's very true. You have a lady that tweeted out, I don't agree with Trump on much at all, but this is absolutely correct. Now, we have some breaking news. New York Times is reporting that New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted just moments ago, indicted on criminal charges following his federal corrupt investigation. And there we go. It'll remain sealed, and it was unclear what the charges he'll face are. But there you go. That's interesting. But I want to zero in on the Secret Service, on the unbelievable report that just came out today. It's more than unbelievable. It's disgusting and it's horrifying. And I have no confidence in the Secret Service. And I feel that since it's been released, it shows how now is the time for our enemies and the Trump haters, as they continue to be encouraged by Kamala, Biden, and the Democrats and the media, to take out President Trump, which is horrifying to think about. But they're literally saying he's ripe and he's ready. These catastrophic failures, as Iran is continuing to threaten and attempt to try to kill President Trump and his former officials. So a few questions I want to pop out at you. Lines wide open. Do you think Trump telling Iran that he'd blow up their biggest city or the whole country if they assassinate him or other U.S. officials was wise? With the Secret Service, do you feel that what they did in this massive failure, give the details next, was intentional because it was Trump, or is it just sheer incompetence? And do you have any confidence in the Secret Service now? And how dangerous is all this now being public? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. We get into that coming up at 33 after the hour. Plus, you're going to hear Trump say, hey, abortion or nuclear war, which is more important? You won't worry about abortion if a nuclear war happens. That's coming up at 33 after the hour on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. 800-288-9227 is our number.
That's all they talk about. The country's falling apart. We're going to end up in World War III, and all they can talk about is abortion. That's all they talk about.
Well, President Trump has a great point. You could have nuclear war. It's all falling apart, and all Kamala talks about is abortion. Here's the big thing on that, too, you need to know. And that is that there's an interview that just went down with MSNBC's Stephanie Ruhle. I think that's her last name. I don't know for sure. Let me see here. Yeah. And Kamala was assuming she picked her because she was humping Kamala's leg on Real Time with Bill Maher, and she always does. She's an MSNBC host. Well, there's several questions that Kamala answered horribly, apparently, and I have some of the highlights of that. We're going to play that for you coming up in just a moment. But we'll do that coming up next at 45 after the hour. But I wanted to first finish off on Iran and targeting President Trump and the Secret Service. But I forgot to mention something earlier, too, on how we're on the precipice of an all-out war. Joe Biden said it's Middle East war is now possible, he said today. Before 9/11, just to show you how dangerous and terrorist supporting Iran is, this came from Washington Post columnist Mark Thiessen today. Before 9/11, nobody killed more Americans than any terrorist network on the face of the earth after Iran. Iran was the biggest terrorism killer of Americans. They did the Beirut bombing of our Marine barracks, 241 of our soldiers and people. They did the Khobar Towers bombing, killing 19 airmen and hundreds of civilians. They did the bombing of our embassy in Kuwait. They captured and killed our CIA chief in Lebanon. They killed over 1,000 troops of ours in Iraq with their explosives. They're explosively formed penetrators. The Secret Service certainly isn't going to stop a sophisticated attack from Iran on Trump with it now that they're this massive, long-time, decades-long sponsor of terrorism, the biggest one in the world after 9/11. And as I mentioned, the Wall Street Journal just had a column today saying that Iran is waiting for President Harris, and I agree with that. Joe and Kamala have given them $80 billion a month in oil revenue since they took over the White House, and $6 billion to pay for 6 of our American hostages. So they've given them $86 billion, which they've done, which they always do, chiefly to kill Americans and Jews and to sponsor terrorism all over the Middle East, in Syria, in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Yemen, in what do you call it? Into the south, and to Syria. It's unbelievable that crescent they're trying to have. It's amazing how horrible they are, all the way around and below Israel. So there you are. And now we have a report saying that a Secret Service agent called tech support. Oh, tech support! Hello, tech support. Yes, after the terrorist who shot President Trump in the head in Butler, Pennsylvania, after he flew his drone, Secret Service person in charge to fly the drone, agent, literally could not figure out how to operate the drone. They just took training on the drone 3 months earlier. They were on the phone for hours with the tech support agent holding and talking to them, trying to figure out how to operate the drone. They never got a drone up in the air because of that. This is, furthermore, Roe, we just found this out today, the interim director right now, Roe, is a total Democrat operative. He, before working in the Secret Service, he worked for the Obama campaign as a political operative, and before that, he worked as an aide to the senator, Democrat liberal Senator Patrick Leahy from Vermont. He is a Democrat politician operative who was given the job of number 2 after Joe Biden's wife picked number 1. This whole thing is a failure and is run by Democrat people who seek to destroy Trump. Yes, I think they intentionally took their hand off of Trump, and I still think they are. And this was released today, all this information, and it gets worse and worse and worse, by the way. They knew 27 minutes beforehand. They were warned 27 minutes beforehand. There's a man on the roof. There's a guy up there 27 minutes before. 2 or 3 minutes before they were told he is up on the roof with a gun. And it never was shared to Trump's protections team on the stage, ever. They could have got him off the stage. There is more and more horrifying details. Now, my questions for you on this. Do you think Trump telling Iran he'd blow up their biggest city or the whole country if they assassinate him or other U.S. officials was wise? Yes, I do. You will pay a massive price. We will pimp slap you to kingdom come if you do what you're trying to do or playing around with. Number 2, with the Secret Service, do you feel this was intentional because it was Trump or just sheer incompetence? On the same day of Butler, not a Dr. Jill, or Nurse Jill, as I also call her. She was speaking at an indoor rally in Pittsburgh with 400 people, and she got counterintelligence, counter-sniper people that Trump, she got one other thing. There was some kind of not counterintelligence, but counter operations or counter operatives, something of that nature. So an extra layer she got that Trump did not get, and that was already known by the Secret Service that Iran had a threat and was trying to kill him right then and there. I mean, so Nurse Jill with 400 people indoors got more than Trump did, like a whole counter something or other team, counterintelligence or something of that. I can't remember the exact terminology, but there is nothing that comes out that shows anything good about this. So how dangerous is all this being public now, do you think? Is it a quote-unquote good time to try to go after President Trump now that we all know? Do you have confidence in the Secret Service now? And with the Secret Service, do you feel this was intentional because it was Trump or just sheer gross incompetence? And do you think Trump telling Iran he'd blow up their biggest city or whole country if they assassinate him or other officials was wise? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. All lines wide open for you to chime in. Call in right now. We'll get you right on right away. 800-288-WBAP is our number. Also, today, Putin saying that it is proposed that aggression against Russia by any non-nuclear state, brand new policy, nuclear warning today to the West over Ukraine. Basically what he said was if Ukraine, a non-nuclear state, but with the participation or support of a nuclear state, that'd be us or other NATO people, considered as their joint attack on the Russian Federation. If you and other countries that are nuclear attack us, we are now going to use nuclear. We will consider using nuclear on Ukraine. The conditions for Russia's transition to the use of nuclear weapons are also clearly fixed, they said. Moscow would consider such a move if detected the start of massive launch of missiles, aircrafts, or drones against it. This happening while Biden refuses to allow the attackums that he gave Zelensky to be shot inside of Russia. We also have this today from Reuters, exclusive. Russia has a secret war drones project in China, an intel source says. It goes on and on and on. And Trump also made a great point today at a rally. He said, hey, look, right now, we are using our security detail to help bolster the security detail of President Rouhani in Iran. He has come to the UN to speak, and we're using our security detail to help bolster his and keep him safe, while I am sitting out here left unsafe, comparatively speaking. This is a strange set of circumstances, he said. And there's more. Chinese-linked hackers breached the U.S. internet providers today in a new Salt Typhoon cyber attack. Hackers linked to the Chinese government have broken into a handful of U.S. internet service providers in recent months. They have already burrowed into America's broadband networks. With this type of intrusion, bad actors aim to establish a foothold within the infrastructure of cable and broadband providers that allow them to get data stored by telecoms companies or launch a damaging cyber attack. The U.S. has disrupted an attack earlier on more than 200,000 routers, cameras, and internet-connected consumer devices that serve as an entry point for China-based hacking group. That in January it happened. They disrupted Volt Typhoon. We did yet another Chinese league campaign that has sought to quietly infiltrate a swath of U.S. critical infrastructure. Yes, our water, our security, our electricity, to shut us down as a country. FBI Director Chris Wray said a cyber threat posed by the Chinese government is massive. So, and this is just the tip of the iceberg of how bad things are with China coming at us. And then with the report on the Secret Service. So the people in charge of the Butler rally with Secret Service could not answer any questions about who specifically was responsible for determining the perimeter and who approved the designation of the perimeter. The counter-drone system, I told you about that, calling an 800 number for hours. Secret Service was notified 27 minutes early of a suspicious person with a rangefinder that prompted an on-the-ground effort to locate the individual. The lead agent for Secret Service, site agent, and site counterpart all told the committee they did not get that information. 22 seconds before the gunman fired, local officer radioed that the suspect was armed on that building, on the roof, but that detail was never relayed to the Secret Service personnel. Just before shots fired, a counter sniper saw local officers running towards the building with their guns drawn, but did not alert Trump's protective detail to remove him from the stage. In other words, let them finish the job. Kill them. That's how this reads to me. When asked who was supposed to secure the building, the lead agent did not give the committee a clear answer. With the Iranian plot to kill Trump, it was the first time such a team was assigned to a protectee for this new threat, a counter sniper team, rather than other than the president, vice president, and a formal presidential nominee. Clearly, here we go. Nearly all the Secret Service personnel interviewed by the committee said they were unaware of any credible intelligence of a threat. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Oh, and just new today, a Secret Service agent was just put on leave after sexually assaulting Kamala Harris's aide. Sexually assault. Secret Service aide is now on leave for sexually assaulting an aide of Kamala Harris in Green Bay, an advance team. This is as bad as it gets. We are not safe. Trump should hire his own security. Somebody mentioned that the other day. It just doesn't get worse than everything we're seeing here. And yes, there's a green light now to assassinate the president, and I pray that he does not get hurt at all. It'll be a miracle if he doesn't get a third assassination attempt, and pray that it's not successful. My gosh. Okay, that's where we're at on that. Coming up next, I want to get into we have Kamala's interview that broke tonight. There's some excerpts of it. I'm going to play it for you, and we're going to talk about it and see if you like it or you don't like it, if she's falling flat or not. That is coming up next. I will tell you the woman who totally supports Kamala, and I've got the video of her being on Real Time with Bill Maher just the other day, saying how awesome she is and how bad Trump is. She interviewed Kamala, and part of it has come out already, and apparently it's bad. And also, she came out after the interview and did a preview of it and did an interview with some MSNBC people, and she basically said she's dodging the questions. And she's a Kamala supporter. Amazing. We'll get into that next on the Chris Crock Show at 46 after the hour on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Okay, Kamala's next interview happening by a lady who I've got on audio totally on Bill Maher the other day. She's saying how incredible she is and everything. So this just came out, an excerpt from Stephanie Ruhle, who is a massive fan of Kamala and getting bad reviews, including from Ruhle. Ruhle said today after the interview, kind of previewing it, let me go to that one. She said... she called out Harris for dodging how she'd raise taxes. She doesn't answer the question. She said, if the GOP's control... Well, actually, I'll play you part of that right now. Let me see here. Okay, here we go.
Expanding that child tax credit, or you mentioned housing before, giving that extra money for a first home. If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share.
So what happens if you don't get that because Congress won't let it? Well, they're going to have to. How? She literally said, well, they're going to have to. But she didn't say what you would do if that's changed. She just said it has to happen, okay? But the lady just said it won't happen because of these things. If that happens, what are you going to do? Well, it has to happen. What?
And assistance to state and local governments around transit dollars. And looking holistically at the connection between that and housing. And looking holistically at the incentives we in the federal government can create for local and state governments to actually engage in planning in a holistic manner that includes prioritizing affordable housing.
Holistic, 3 times in 15 seconds. Not a good one right there. And then here we go. Here's another one.
Madam Vice President, you just laid out your economic vision for the future.
Yeah.
But still, there are lots of Americans who don't see themselves in your plans. For those who say these policies aren't for me, what do you say to them?
Well, if you are hardworking, if you have the dreams and the ambitions and the aspirations of what I believe you do, you're in my plan. You know, I have to tell you, I really love and am so energized by what I know to be the spirit and character of the American people.
Okay, it goes on for another minute, but it's a disaster, obviously. There's nothing good here. And then here's, let's see, I mean, I got lots of stuff I can spin the wheel here. It's not good. And let's see, I think I got one more. Nope, that's it right now. Okay, so that's what we got. She says she's dodging questions, even though she's a big Kamala fan. So here we go. What do you think? How's she doing in her next interview of a lady who's a big fan of hers and defends her and is obviously going to be voting for her, and yet Kamala can't answer the questions? 800-28. Are her answers satisfying you? Are you thinking of voting for her now that you hear stuff like that? 800-288-9227 is our number. Line's wide open. Chime in right now. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. How do you feel that interview went from what you're hearing so far? Man, I think it's even the friendly ones, she's not doing well with them. So I think it's not good news for her. The more this keeps happening, the Trump is gaining today. There was another poll that came out. We're going to get into this more in the details, where he's up by 1 or 2 points nationally. I keep seeing polls that are good for him. They're not bad for Trump. Gallup came out with a poll today that shows here are the top issues. They gave like 7 or 8 issues. They just finished a survey on of Americans, and they said these top 2 or 3 here are very important to getting the presidency winning. And it showed Trump with a nice margin solidly, where it's not just leaning towards him, but it's his advantage, period, in the top 2 or 3. And then there's like 5 below it that are like kind of secondary or tertiary ones, and he wins on almost all of them. 2 of them are a draw. The rest, like 5 of them, are Trump, or not Trump, are leaning towards Trump. So I mean, this is a good. He's in a fairly good part. Now I hear some stuff on a Fox poll today that's not the best news. It's not horrible, but I mean, this is at least a total tie, which usually portends Trump to the advantage. The polling was much worse for Trump in 2020. Biden had in many of these polls, he had 6 points, 9 points ahead. Kamala is tied or 1 point or down a point or 2. There's just a brand new poll coming out today on Georgia, which shows Trump up by 2 in Georgia. And he now has the unprecedented backing, not unprecedented, but the unbelievable team of Governor, what's his name? Not Perdue anymore. He was the governor when I was there. Who's the governor of Georgia? It'll come to me in a second. Anyways, he had Brian Kemp. He's got the Kemp resources, which are incredible for the state of Georgia. And that's a big deal. They made up, kissed and made up, which Trump should have done a long time ago, but it's been done in time. So there's a lot of good stuff. Next, okay, listen, there's video I saw with Puff Daddy and Justin Bieber, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's horrifying. It is horrifying. I'm going to play it for you. I'm going to describe it. It is on my Twitter feed, at Chris Crock Show, but it is horrifying. I think Bieber's a victim. I'm not kidding you. You'll hear what I'm talking about, and you can see it on my Twitter feed, at Chris Crock Show. Also on Instagram and Facebook, at Chris Crock Show, ChrisKrock. We're going to get into that coming up next, and also a major comedian saying that Diddy tried to have relations with him in that way. Coming up next to the Chris Crock Show, WBAP.